get into the season, just if you can, the Ring of Honor, what does that mean to you? What does that kind of add to your legacy here?
I mean, it's a surreal moment, honestly. Something that really, truly, I mean, it still hasn't hit. I mean, you think about, the names that's inside that stadium and the type of players they were, the type of coaches they were. Mr. Bradley was obviously a wonderful man. So just to be up there with those guys is truly an honor. But it's just surreal. It just takes me, honestly, it just takes me back to that 6-year-old boy, little kid that just wrote down all his dreams that he wanted to accomplish in life. And just to go back and reflect on that list and to see some of the things that happened over the course of my life, it truly is amazing just to see the favor of God that's truly on my life. And really the only thing that I'm hoping whenever they decide what game and all the details and stuff like that, truly I'm just hoping that a lot of my former teammates, hopefully a couple coaches, will be able to attend, because even though that'd be my name, it was a lot of people that played that had a hand in making me the type of player that I was. So hopefully I get a lot of family and friends that's able to attend, because those type of things don't happen every day, And so that's really what I'm looking forward to, just trying to hopefully send as many teammates as possible. The first teammate that I talked to was James Davis. And that wasn't a surprise to me, just considering the relationship that we have, and so that meant a lot. And then obviously Jacoby Ford, considering the relationship that we had. So just those two guys that reached out, and that truly meant a lot to me. Just by receiving their text messages and congratulations. So I'm just looking forward to that day and being amongst a lot of family and friends.
Coach, Phil and Will came in together,
Yes.
Great friends, grew together. How is Phil taken to being the unquestioned, veteran leader of that running back group?
I mean, he's done a great job this spring, honestly. Phil is who Phil we thought would be, and I tell people all the time, and I think about it all the time, even though me and Shipley skill sets were very similar, me and Mafah journey is pretty much identical if you really look at it. You think about, my time here was James Davis for those first 3 years, and then obviously my last year, I took the bull by the horns. The same thing. You think about, the Mafah man. He had to, share the load with a great player in Shipley. Now he has the opportunity to take the bulls by the horns and really lead a group, and he done a tremendous job. I mean, everybody on our team respects that guy. From the players to the coaching staff, and he has a certain way that his leadership skills show, totally different than how Shipley's own was, and everybody accepted that. But he's one of those guys, when he speaks, you listen, because he don't speak often. So whenever he says something, it's important. And so those younger guys, and I challenged them, this spring is, hey, you better take advantage of this opportunity to have a guy that's NFL caliber type player in your room, and try to learn as much as you can, both on and off the field. That was my challenge to those young puppies in there, and I think they've done a great job this spring.
You mentioned you and James. What similarities do you see with Phil you saw when you were here?
From what standpoint?
In terms of just his play on the field? Obviously, you talked about the journey, but
yeah. I mean, he's a very powerful kid. I mean, he's 230 pounds. I mean, he's chiseled. I mean, he got very soft hands, really good feet, and then he's faster than what a lot of people think. And so we seen that on display against Notre Dame. How he was breaking those long runs, and so those are the similarities that I think you can probably say between him and James was probably very similar. Probably a little faster, probably than James, and probably probably actually do more catching the ball than what we probably asked James to do. But I mean, he's a pro's pro. He understands how to take care of his body. He want to be coached hard. He want to set the tone for everybody. And it's been a great journey just to see his growth over the years, honestly. you know, because it was times where, you know, you had to challenge him, and he accepted that. Now he really want to be coached hard. He want to make sure that, you know, every stone is unturned, and you know, that he's able to put his best foot forward. So now we're, you know, in a whole different realm of, you know, how do you go from being a great player? You know, everybody know what you have done those last 5 to 6 weeks. Now, how do you have a counter? Just like boxing, you better have a counter punch. If not, you're gonna be on the canvas. And so we always talking about that, and you know, he'll do a great job. I know he done a great job this summer getting his body ready, and then mentally, that's where I have to come in and make sure that he's ready to go each and every game.
How close is that competition behind Mafah? You know, maybe guys like Adams and Haynes and Jarvis Green.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real close competition. You know, that was really the challenge. You know, for these guys coming to the spring is really who's going to be that guy behind Mafah. Yeah, we know what he can do. You know, you wouldn't want to see him carry the ball 40 times, but if we ask him to do it, we know he can do it. And so that was really my challenge. And you know, Keith did an awesome job this spring. Took another step forward. Jarvis Green took another step forward. Obviously, we didn't have Jay Haynes out there, you know, for spring. And then the freshman came in, David Eziomume. He did a great job. I mean, he pretty much was like a freshman, you know, just trying to learn it, trying to get the footwork down. But you know, as the spring went on, he got better. So, you know, the good thing is going into this fall camp, everybody's healthy, you know, and so it's going to be a really good, healthy competition in there, and you know, we'll see how it plays out. You know, and those guys, they respect that, you know, and they love that challenge, and that's the beauty of this game, is that, you know, competition brings out the best of everybody. Either you run to the competition or you shy away from the competition. And the thing I say is every guy in that room, they run to the competition. They don't shy away from it. So I'm looking forward to this fall camp, seeing all those guys out there having a chance to go and compete, you know, for that 2 and 3 spot, you know. And so, but at the end of the day, man, I tell everybody, that running back position specifically, everybody has to be ready, just because of the pounding and the hits and stuff that you take over the course of a season. I mean, you just never know what happened. I mean, we seen that happen several years ago when we was down, you know, Shipley and Kobe Pace, you know, and so and Mafah had to step up. So you have to be ready to go, no matter where you are on that pecking order. To me, you should always view yourself as a starter. That should always be the mindset, and that's always the message that I try to send to those guys, is that, hey, yeah, you might not be the first guy to run out there, but you always one ankle away from being a starter, so you better prepare like you the starter. And then you're just another set of eyes for the guys that is a starter, you know. And so I don't want guys that just come in and just watching the game. You know, I want you to be in tune, seeing what's going on, so when, you know, Phil, for instance, he come off the field, you're able to share what you've seen out there, you know, and we can try to confirm that with the tablets now that we'll have on the sideline. So all those guys do a great job of understanding that, and so, like I said, I'm just looking forward to an awesome fall camp.
Shipley was so vocal on the sideline, on the field.
Yeah.
Is that something? How do you make up for that hole that you have?
Well, I mean, everybody has their way of leadership. You know, James Davis, I mean, he was very vocal and boisterous, just like Shipley was, where I was totally different. You know, that's the same thing now. You had Shipley, who was very vocal and boisterous and had that fierce competitor in him. And you have Mafah, who's a fierce competitor, but he's not as boisterous, I guess you would say, as Shipley was. And that's okay. We don't want him to be that. I want all my guys in that room to be who they are. I don't want them to be somebody that they're not. And so I don't ask them to go out and just be a rah-rah-rah guy. If that's not you, that's not you. I wasn't a rah-rah-rah guy. But everybody knew when I said something, I brought it to the table, that it meant a lot. And so you just have to find, you know, what's your style of leadership and go with that. You know, because, you know, this day and age, these guys, they'll sniff out that fakeness. Honestly, they really will. And so if you're out here trying to be fake and be somebody that you're not, you know, they're not going to follow that. And so I think that's where Phil has done a great job. He understands what type of leader he is, and he don't try to, you know, deviate from that. You know, and so I'm not worried about, you know, missing out on a guy that's, you know, so vocal on the sideline and so emotional. That's really not my concern going into the season. Honestly, I think, you know, all those guys have great leadership skills, and they just have to fine tune and figure out what's best for them.
there any aspects of Phil's game that you've seen him try to work towards heading into this season, or anything that you challenged him to improve on from last year?
Oh yeah, I mean, just those one-cut mentalities. I mean, he's a very powerful runner, and sometimes, you know, I have to remind him that, hey Phil, you 230, not 200, and you know, over the course of a game, you know, people not going to want to tackle that type of player. And so he has to understand that, you know, he's going to win some battles, he's going to lose some battles, but if you just stay the course and, you know, and do the right job of making your reads, you'll be perfectly fine. So, you know, and Phil's one of those guys, I can tell him one thing and he'll correct it correctly. I mean, it happened in the spring. It was a cut that we was watching film from the previous practice. You know, we talked about it. I say, next time if this, you know, scenario presents itself, try this move. Guess what? The next practice, that scenario presented itself, he did it, and he seen the difference. So he's one of those guys that, you know, you don't have to sit there and tell him 50 times, you know, how to correct something. You tell him one time, and he's gonna get it, and it's gonna be corrected. So that's why I say his growth has really, you know, evolved.
We saw glimpses of Jay Haynes in the fall, and excuse the comparison, but can he be the lightning to Mafah's thunder?
The lightning?
Can he kind of bring the speed?
Yeah, he could. He could. I mean, he has that capability. I mean, like you said, we seen glimpses of it in the fall of him, you know, making, you know, sharp cuts and exploding through. So, you know, he definitely has, you know, the ability to do that. And you know, but like I said, we'll see how it goes this fall camp. You know, and you know, all those guys bring something totally different. You know, but he does have that capability to being that, I guess you say, lightning.
How's Haynes' hands catching the ball out of the backfield early on in his career?
I mean, all those guys, they can catch the ball pretty well to me, honestly. It's one of those things where, you know, are you a confident catcher? You know what I mean? It's easy for guys to catch the ball. Are you confident catching the football? And I think all those guys, they are confident catching the ball. When you do your technique right and you don't turn too early or you don't take your eyes off the ball, you're normally going to catch the ball. It's normally when you know, try to take your eyes and you're trying to peek downfield and see what's going to happen. That's normally when you drop passes. And so all those guys that work hard this whole spring and summer of really working on their pass catching ability. But I think Jay has pretty good hands. Even though he wasn't asked to do that a lot in high school, I mean, they just turned around and handed him the football, and he done it. But he did play defense in high school, so he played safety. So, you know, he knows how to, you know, I guess you say he does have really good ball skills.
You said they all bring something different to the table. What is
Easy?
What kind of stands out to you right now?
Easy is a mixture of both, you know, power and has the speed. Now, Easy, on the other hand, he will be, you know, I know you asked the question earlier about filling that void that Shipley brought. Like, I can see Easy over the course of his career being that type of guy. I mean, he's a very high emotional guy. He's very a fierce competitor. He want to be great. He doesn't shy away from competition. I think he rises to the occasion when the fire gets hot. But it's just, you know, just like any freshman, you know, some guys, you know, it hits quicker than others. And, you know, he done had a process where it just it's taking time, but that's okay. You know, we're not asking him to go out there and, you know, be day one starter. You know, we want him to take his time, and when his time comes, he'll be ready to rock and roll. But, you know, he's a mixture of both power and speed, and can catch the ball because he was asked to do that. You know, he can block. You know, that's what he comes from, that system at North Cobb with Coach Queen down there. So he comes from a great system and a great background that, you know, he's very confident in doing anything that you ask him to do.
Coach, can you walk us through the day that you found out that you were going to be inducted into the Ring of Honor? That's easy.
I was in Florida. I was at my mom's house. I was in my living room. I was actually planning my. I do a 4th of July fireworks show in my hometown. I'd have done it for the past 13 years. So I was talking to my mom and some more people about, you know, the whole logistics and stuff like that of how we wanted to get ran and, you know, make sure that it's a great show for my hometown. And I was playing with my baby boy Cade. He was running around, and one of my good friends that's been one of my first almost 20 years, Tim Beret, texted me and asked me, was I in town on vacation? And I said, well, I'm out of town. And next thing you know, I just left it out, like, I'm just out of town right now. And then he called me, probably like 2 minutes later. He was like, well, I just wanted to inform you that, you know, you have been selected for the Ring of Honor. this year. And I was like, you can't be serious right now. Just because you just don't think about those things. I get a lot of chatter from a lot of fans and stuff like when it's gonna happen, but I never really sat back and wonder like, okay, when is it gonna happen? Like that just wasn't my mindset. My mindset was making sure that we was finna have a great 4th of July fireworks show. That was really what my mindset was. And so when he said that, it kind of just made me just pause for a moment, really, and really just reflect on my career here, my teammates, my coaches. Really, like I say, take me back all the way to just that childhood moment when I just sat there and in my bed and just wrote down all my dreams and goals that I wanted to accomplish. And one of them was I wanted to be known as one of the greatest players at my high school. I wanted to be known as one of the greatest players at whatever college that I attended. That was really one of my goals. And so to sit back and go back and reflect on that letter and see some of the things that I'd accomplished, like I say, over the course of my life, it's like you just put a checkbox by it. And man, it just, whenever you just put hard work, sacrifice, dedication, and you just trust God and you just believe it, anything can happen. And so it was a great day. It was one of the greatest days that I had this summer. It was one of the greatest days that I had this summer.
When you think about you'll be the second person in this side of the century that's been inducted into the Ring of Honor. So representing a time period, right, a decade, almost the only one for football in the 21st century. So what's that mean to kind of represent a decade of Clemson football? There'll be people along the way, but you're the first in football in the 21st century.
Haven't really got to that point yet, honestly. I never really thought about that. That's new information to me. But I mean, I know it's a very rigorous process that you have to go through, and I know all the details and stuff that have to take place, and really the stars really have to align, and so I guess you say to be the one to represent a decade of people, and I'm just really standing on the shoulders of great players, the guys that came before me, and hopefully was able to set the tone for guys that came after me. That was always my mindset. That was always one of my mindsets, when I came to college, is that, I'm always going to pay my respects to the guys that came before me, and hopefully I can set the tone and the vision and stuff like that for guys that come after me. And I guess you could say this is one of those things that, the guys that paved the path gave me opportunity, and hopefully the guys that came after me was able to take something away from how not only how I played, but hopefully how I carried myself, throughout this community.
And with that, is legacy talk something that can be instructive to someone like Phil in this year for him, or do you kind of just gotta go with what you've done on the field for YouTube and the banners and stuff, or do you kind of like give him pointers on maybe what he's trying to really leave for you?
Well, I challenge all those guys to leave their mark, when it's all said and done, So, we don't really, really talk too heavy or too deep into legacy just because he's still playing. But I do tell those guys, man, to make sure that, when your time does come to an end, that you done left your mark on this program, by the way that you carried yourself, by interaction that you might have had with a teammate or a staff member, because those are the things that's going to be remembered the most about you. Yeah, they'll remember certain plays and stuff like that, but it's what you did and how you made someone feel along the way that they're going to remember the most. And that's one of the things that I truly try to challenge them on a daily basis about. Yeah, you're not going to be perfect. I'm not asking you to be perfect. But the way that you respect people, the way that you handle yourself with media and show them the respect, because you guys do have a job to do, and I know it's tough, but, if you come up here and you're not interested, you're not interacting with you guys and stuff like that, that's going to leave a lasting impression on people. And so I'm always, mindful of just reminding those guys, of how to handle that, and then the legacy stuff, to just take care of yourself the way that you just play from a football standpoint.
Going back to Easy,
Yep.
how well has he soaked everything up? Is he a guy that maybe can help y'all this year?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, he had a really good spring. I mean, just like I say, it was, typical freshman, totally different system than what he had when he came in from high school. So, I mean, it wasn't surprised that, some early struggles. But like I said, as the spring went on, he got better and better. And hopefully he did a great job this summer of really getting himself, ready to go for this fall camp. I'm excited about getting around him today and just kind of seeing how it's been. Obviously, I've been in constant communication with him through text message, but to physically be able to see him, today is what I'm looking for, and hopefully, he'll handle his business. So, I mean, you have to prepare yourself like you're going to help this team. You just don't know how those cards going to play out, and so hopefully he'd have done a great job up to this point to preparing himself to be able to have a chance to help us, but we'll see how it goes.
There's no replacing Shipley, but there is two things can be true in maximizing Mafah. A 3-down back, obviously, as a running back, you kind of go, okay, like I can be the guy that doesn't sub in and out.
Yeah.
But like to people who might question catching out of the backfield or Mafah being involved in the screen game to be that full 3-down back capability, what do you kind of say to that?
I just say that they don't watch football. I mean, if anybody's questioning Phil Mafah's catching ability, really don't watch football. I mean, this kid has some of the softest hands that I've ever been around. I've been around some great ones, and he's right up there with him. And it's impressive because he's a bigger guy. You don't really typically see a bigger back, I guess you say, asked to catch the football a lot. But if we need Phil to run the screen, we're not going to sub whoever into the game to get Phil out the game. Phil can go and execute every play that we ask him to do without a problem. And so hopefully that's answered the question. But I mean, that kid can do anything. If he need to be a 3-down back, he can be a 3-down back. I mean, we seen that on display against Notre Dame. I mean, that wasn't. I mean, I really didn't realize that he had almost 40 carries in the game until after the game because it didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? But are we gonna ask Phil to do that each and every game? No. To me, that's not doing him any good. Long-term wise. We need Phil as healthy as possible throughout the course of the season, and so that's where those young guys have to step their game up and be ready to go to be able to give him a spare here and there. And if that's not the case, then hey, it is what it is. And so. But I know they'll rise to the occasion to be able to do that, because they understand that he's our guy, and we need him as healthy as possible. Is throughout the course of this season, and a couple guys got to be willing to go in there and give him a breather here and there, and and so those guys, they're looking forward to that. But if we need him to carry at 40, we know that he can do it because he's showed it. But we're not going to ask him, to do that, on a week in, week out basis. Like, that's not good. That's not healthy for him. That's not healthy for any running back. I mean, you're talking about a 2-week period. That's 80 carries. That adds up over the course of the season quickly. And so, I got to be smart with him. And he, like I say, he had a real good spring. We had a good plan put together for him this spring, and he was smart, and I was smart with him. And got him what he needed, and he was sharp as a knife when he went out there and practiced.
You talk about those young guys that need to give him a breather. How do you see Jarvis Green attack his role, and what do you want to see from him this fall?
Jarvis took a tremendous step this spring, honestly, from where he was when he first got here. And the thing that I always challenge Jarvis with, and we always laugh about, is that obviously people that grow up as a Clemson fan, they can kind of stay in that mode, like being that Clemson fan, and not realizing that, okay, I'm a player now. And so I really challenged him on that on a daily basis, and he really got out of that mode. And so he did a good job of taking care of his body and being explosive. Because we know, I mean, you go back and watch his high school stuff, I mean, the kid was very productive. And so we know it's in there. I mean, then he gets here, he makes some runs, and I mean, he had a big kickoff return for us in the game. And so we know he has that capability. Now it's just all about just being consistent on a daily basis. Not that he's inconsistent, but just stacking those bricks each and every day. So he definitely can definitely help us without a doubt. It's just a matter of how much does he take ownership of wanting to help the team. So because that time it doesn't slow down. I mean, these guys are redshirt freshmen, already 2 years into their college career. So they got to do a good job of making sure that they take advantage of the opportunity. But I truly have been pleased with the way that he attacked this spring from a mindset standpoint. Like, okay, I really want to put my best foot forward.
Compared from last year, talk about the difference from last offseason to this offseason, how things have changed for you and how things have changed for the team.
Well, I mean, last offseason, it was obviously year one in our offense, so it was everybody just trying to just learn it as much as possible. You know, going and watching film and obviously just getting comfortable with Coach Riley and, you know, how he called plays and, you know, his energy and his personality. That was really, you know, last offseason. You know, this offseason is totally different. We understand, you know, who he is and how he attacks defenses and, you know, what he looks for and stuff like that. And so now it's just all about just being a helping hand, you know, and just being another, like I say, just being another set of eyes. You know, as I'm watching film, hey, you know, bringing ideas to the table. Hey, Coach, hey, I don't know if you've seen this on tape. You know, this might be something that we can explore, you know, and so I think that's kind of been really the mindset of me this offseason, is really honing in on this offense and knowing it really inside and out, and being able to, you know, hopefully catch something that he probably didn't catch, you know, because, I mean, he does have a lot on his plate as a play caller and as a coordinator, and so that's where the assistant coach, we got to do a good job of helping him, you know, and I take great pride into that. You know, I don't take that lightly.
Coach, with the college football video game, that again, it seems like you are excited about it. Did you play as yourself back in the Clemson days, or what's your history with the football game?
I mean, of course I played as myself every now and then, but honestly, I mean, it's great because, you know, especially like during this time and we got a lot of downtime, and then when fall camp comes, we have some breaks. That was always one of the things that you always look forward to, just going and just playing that game and just, you know, seeing. First thing you just see back then when it came out, just seeing was you an impact player. Like that was all right. Who the impact players on the team? And so if you wasn't an impact player, it was like, all right, something ain't right here. So it was one of those things in camp that you enjoyed playing, and then obviously, you know, during the season, you know, you played it here and there. And so it's great to see the game back. I know there's been a lot of excitement about it. It's been a long time since they released one, and so I have not played it yet. I've just been seeing people play it, but I'm looking forward to playing it. But they have the old school teams on there. I'll probably get one of them old school teams and go to work.
What team do you think that you'll pick? I mean, other than
what team?
Yourself.
Other than
what old school team?
Well, I'm probably gonna play with Ward Dunn. So Florida State. So I'm gonna go, pick one of those teams. Probably that 93 team, and then Nebraska. You know, the option. I seen there's a nice little feature on the pitch and stuff like that with the option. So I definitely get Nebraska. Tommy Frazier and all those guys. And then, of course, I'm going to USC. I got to get Reggie Bush and Lindell White, Matt Liner. I got to go get those guys. So if they on the game, I don't even know if they on there or not. But if they are, that's kind of probably who I roll with. And I'll probably go get one of these national championship teams that we done brought here. I'll probably get the 16 team with D. Watt and the boys, and see what it was like, you know, to have those type of weapons surrounded by, you know, some great players. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I've heard great reviews about it. I'm in a group chat with a lot of my close friends back home, and I think they started playing it yesterday, and they spoke very highly of it. So it's just about, you know, when can I get a game and go play it.
All right, last question. I guess I've already been asked about this, but Jay Haynes, how much of an evaluation do you actually have of him? Kind of where he sits with being out so much in the spring?
Well, I mean, the only evaluation I have is obviously just the clips and stuff from the previous fall. We've seen some clips of him being, some flashes, I guess you would say, of him being, you know, that can be a really good player, you know. And then obviously the spring, I mean, it wasn't a good feeling not having him out there just because you was excited because you had to see the flashes that he displayed throughout the season, and you know we was really looking forward to him having that. But that also gave other guys opportunity to step up and give them more opportunities. And you know the thing with Jay was just making sure that mentally that he was still engaged, because you know, as you know, when you're not out there practicing, that stuff can start wearing on you, especially when you see some of your buddies out there doing their thing, making some plays here and there. That can start weighing on you. So the biggest challenge for me and him this spring was just making sure that, you know, that he was in tune mentally, and that, hey man, just get yourself healthy. That's all I want you to do. Get yourself healthy. Then come to fall camp, we'll see how it goes. And so he done a great job of battling, getting himself, help and give himself a chance to go out and compete come this fall camp. But you've seen the flashes that he done displayed this past season. Now it's just all about, okay, let's go out there and do it and try to stay healthy. But he has the talent to be a special player.